In the last lesson, we learned about rain. But in this lesson, we are going to look back at clouds again. Now, clouds are again one of nature's most consistently visible wonders and can also tell us a lot about what's going on up in the atmosphere. Find out what clouds are made of, how they form, and all the names for the many and magnificent types in these pages I'm going to show you. There are 3 parts in this one. The first part is called 7 Facts About Clouds. Now take a look at the 7 fascinating things you might not know about and one of the most extraordinary yet commonplace weather phenomena. Number 1. Clouds are made by fire. One of the ways in which clouds are formed is by the heating of the Earth's surface, which causes air to rise, which condenses water droplets to form clouds. Heating of the Earth's surface is usually done by the sun, but wildfires and volcanoes can also cause intense heating, which leads to the rapid formation of clouds known as pyrocumulus. If enough water vapor is available, a pyrocumulus can become a thundercloud, which is called a pyrocumulonimbus, which can produce dramatic lightning displays. Number 2. Up in the clouds. Feared by paragliders and hang gliders, the base of cumulus clouds can be a dangerous place, where thermal updrafts contribute to a phenomenon known as cloud suck. In February 2007, a paraglider was sucked up into a cumulonimbus cloud, rapidly climbing at a speed of 45 miles an hour, up to an altitude of 9,946 meters, or 32,500 feet, close to an altitude of an airliner. Due to hypoxia, she lost consciousness and miraculously came around after around an hour to successfully land her paraglider. With temperatures around minus 50 degrees Celsius at that altitude, when she miraculously reached the ground, she was covered in ice with bruising all over her body from the impacts of hailstones in the cloud. Number 3. Why clouds are white. The reason the clouds are white and the sky is blue is all to do with the color spectrum of light. Light from the sun starts out white but becomes scattered by particles in the sky. Atmospheric particles in the sky scatter away blue light and more than other colors, which gives the sky its blue appearance. But as light passes through a cloud, it interacts with larger water droplets which scatters all colors of the spectrum of light almost equally. This means that the sunlight continues to remain white, making the clouds appear white against the background of a blue sky. Number 4. The cloudiest place on Earth. The Earth's atmosphere is a very cloudy place. NASA's Earth Observatory estimates that at any given time, around 67% of Earth's surface is covered by cloud. Based on the observatory data between 2002 to 2015, NASA's aquasatellite image below clearly shows 3 zones which are the cloudiest, over the mid-latitudes and over the equator. These zones are created by the interaction of large cells of air which are part of the Earth's global circulation patterns. Number 5. How much does a cloud weigh? Well, there are many factors that will determine the exact amount of water vapor a cloud holds, for example, temperature, altitude, and pressure. We can work out with an average of about 5 grams of water per cubic meter of cloud. This means an average size cumulonimbus cloud would weigh about 400,000 kilograms, roughly the same weight as an Airbus A380. Find out more discussion in our Mostly Weather podcast, which you can look on the website. Number 6. The highest cloud of all. The title of highest cloud goes to the rare but beautiful but noctilucent cloud. They hover around 60,000 meters or 200,000 feet and are too faint to be seen in daylight. They become visible during twilight and when sunlight from below the horizon illuminates them to reveal their faint ghostly outlines. And finally, number 7. Word clouds. When making observations at a weather station, cloud cover is measured in octas, eighths of a sky. A reading of 0 octaves would mean there is not a cloud in the sky, which is termed ennubulous. Across cultures, clouds can be very different meanings. In the UK, they tend to have a relatively negative symbolism. For instance, a cloud on the horizon means something bad is going to happen. However, in Iran, clouds are considered as very lucky, so it would be a blessing to say, your sky is always filled with clouds. The next part of this lesson is about a cloud called contrails or condensation trails. Now they are frequently seen crisscrossing the sky and are created from water vapour coming out of an aircraft's engines. The height of base is above 20,000 feet. Latin name, it's no formal Latin classification, but the word condensation comes from the Latin word condensation with an E at the end. And precipitation is none. What are contrails? Now contrails are long stints of cloud usually being seen behind an aeroplane. Now how do they form? Aeroplane jet engines produce water vapour as a byproduct of burning fuel. Above 20,000 feet, the air surrounding the aircraft is well below freezing, so it cools down the water vapour coming out of the back of the engines. This causes the water vapour to condense rapidly and then freeze. Tiny particles form from the engine, known as condensation nuclei, acting as a starting point for condensation to take place, leaving thin trails of ice crystals behind the airplane's engines. What weather is associated with contrails? Contrails are not large enough to cause any weather on the ground. We tend to observe them in empty skies and high pressure situations when there are very few other clouds around. How do we categorize them? Strictly speaking, there is only one type of contrail. However, there's a similar effect called wingtip vortices. As an airplane wing generates lift, it causes a vortex to form at the wingtip and at the tip of the flaps. These wingtip vortices persist in the atmosphere after the aircraft has passed. The reduction in pressure and temperature across each vortex can cause water to condense. This effect is more common on humid days, so wingtip vortices can sometimes be seen behind the wing flaps of airliners during takeoff and landing. Unlike contrails, wingtip vortices are usually seen only at low altitudes, where the aircraft... Sorry about that ringtone, I just got to quickly put the battery in. Is it in? Hold on a minute, guys. Yes, it's in. Great stuff. Hold on. There we are. Sorry about that, guys. This effect is more common on humid days, so wingtip vortices can sometimes be seen behind the wing flaps of airliners during takeoff and landing. Unlike contrails, wingtip vortices are usually only seen at low altitude, where the aircraft is travelling slowly after takeoff or before landing. The trail behind the wingtips and wing flaps, rather than behind the engines, and they evaporate quickly just a few meters behind the aircraft. Where an aircraft passes through a cloud, it can disperse the clouds in its path. This is known as a disk trail, short for dissipation trail. The plane's worn engine exhaust causes existing water droplets in pre-existing clouds to evaporate, leaving a clear wake through an otherwise cloudy sky. Another related but different effect is ship trails. These are clouds that form around the exhaust released by ships into still but humid air for just above the ocean. Water vapour is already in the air, condenses on the aerosol particles in the exhaust. In the case of ship tracks, only a little of the condensing water vapour comes from the ship's engines. Most is already present in the air before the ship arrives. The resulting clouds resemble long strings over the ocean. These are often much wider than contrails, so they can be seen more often on satellite pictures of the Earth. Our final bit today is a question about a different type of cloud called a funnel cloud. Now, funnel clouds, or tuba, are extending spinning fingers of cloud that reach towards the ground, but never touches it. When they do reach the ground, they become a tornado. What are funnel clouds? A funnel cone cloud is a cone-shaped cloud which extends from the base of a cloud towards the ground without actually reaching the surface. In UK, they often look like thin dangling bits of rope hanging from the cloud above. But in hotspots such as the Tornado Alley in USA, funnel clouds can sometimes be thicker and much more intense. Now, how do they form? A rotating column of wind draws in cloud droplets, making a region of intense low pressure visible. They are formed in the same way as tornado building around this localized area of intensely low pressure and are typically associated with the formation of cumulonimbus thunderclouds. What weather is associated with them? Cumulonimbus clouds are almost always the host cloud from which two will form, meaning that heavy rain, hail, thunder and lightning can all be expected. If a funnel cloud does make contact with the ground and produce a tornado, very strong winds can be expected in the immediate vicinity of the vortex, potentially causing severe damage. What is the difference between a funnel cloud and a tornado? Is our final question of the lesson. Crucially, a funnel cloud does not reach the Earth's surface at the point it reaches land. At the point it reaches land, it becomes a tornado, or if it reaches a body of water, it becomes a waterspout. In a typical year, the UK sees around 30 to 35 tornadoes each year, though it is very rare that they are strong enough to cause any significant damage. That's all for today's lesson. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bad news, guys. Soon will be my last video of the channel until November 30th. Bye.